Hi, my name is Malia. It's nice to see you. Welcome if you're new, or welcome back. We talk about chronic illness and disability on this channel, as I am both chronically ill and disabled. The other day, I went on my TikTok and I asked other chronically ill and disabled people, what is something that you wish was talked about more, or what is something that has a lot of misinformation surrounding it regarding chronic illness and disability? And throughout this video, I'll be kind of using those terms interchangeably. Know that they have crossover and can be different, but in the cases of a lot of these concerns and questions and comments, they're interchangeable. So the first topic is internalized ableism and imposter syndrome. When you're chronically ill, specifically with an invisible illness or disability, doctors don't always believe you on the first try, or the second, or the third. Sometimes it takes years to get a proper diagnosis. Sometimes they misdiagnose, or sometimes they don't diagnose you at all and they dismiss you as being anxious or overdramatic, even if they don't use those words. And it takes us a long time and a lot of stress and effort to get diagnosed. With all of that dismissiveness and the gaslighting, which I know is kind of a hot button word, buzzword, this is truly the context of what that word means. When you're told over and over again by people in your life and medical professionals that your pain is not real, or it's over dramatized, or it's due to something that you know is not true, you start to believe it on a subconscious level, even if you know for a fact it's not true. Even long after you get properly diagnosed and you're getting treatment, it stays with you. And so you get this sense of imposter syndrome of, am I just being dramatic? You could be having the worst day and your symptoms are the worst they've been in a long time, and you still may think, am I just being dramatic? Am I being lazy? Should I be working? Should I be doing XYZ, whatever? And it's incredibly damaging. The second topic that I got a lot of comments about was fatigue versus sleepiness. So if I, as a chronically ill person, tell my able-bodied, healthy friend, I am really fatigued today, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go out for lunch like we had planned. I realize now that a lot of people hear that as, I'm tired or I'm sleepy and I need to take a nap, which usually for fatigue, naps don't always work, because fatigue is a deep-seated exhaustion. If you are able-bodied, you're healthy, imagine running a 5K and then being asked to go to lunch like immediately after. You're gonna be exhausted. You're gonna feel like your muscles aren't cooperating. You're gonna feel like, I just wanna go home. I don't wanna see anyone. I don't wanna do anything. That's how a lot of chronically ill people feel after doing one or two tasks. Sometimes nothing at all. Sometimes I'll wake up and roll out of bed and I feel exhausted, like I've done a whole day's worth of work and productivity when I haven't done anything yet. I think a good way to describe the feeling of fatigue is kind of like running in a dream, where you feel like you should be able to go faster and be stronger than you are, and it feels like you're stuck in molasses. That's what fatigue can feel like, at least for me. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. But for me, it feels like I'm stuck. My muscles are stuck. Everything feels 20 pounds heavier. My head, my arms, everything, and it feels like there's this pressure. It's a deeper issue than just being tired or sleepy. The third issue is mental illness in relation to chronic illness. When you are chronically ill or disabled and it's a long-term battle, a lot of these chronic illnesses, there is no cure. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I have a video on if you would like to go and watch that, or if you have any questions, let me know. That is an incurable disease. It's genetic. It's the way that my body was formed in the womb, and there's no way, as of right now, to cure it or to treat it really effectively. You just have to treat the symptoms. Ehlers-Danlos is not the only illness like that. There are tons of chronic illnesses and disabilities that don't have a cure, and they're lifelong battles. Anxiety and depression are very frequently named the cause of chronic illness or disability. While there are very few cases that anxiety and depression are a cause or an exacerbating factor to a chronic illness or disability, most of the time the chronic illness or disability comes first, and the mental drain and the emotional drain and the anxiety and the depression come later. Anxiety and depression are very often a symptom of chronic illness, not a cause. People with chronic illnesses and lifelong disabilities are at a higher risk for anxiety and depression. I'm going to read you a little quote here. I'm going to be reading from my notes. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, Major depressive disorder, or MDD, is prevalent in 51% of Parkinson's patients, 42% of cancer patients, 27% of diabetes patients, 23% of cerebrovascular patients, 17% of cardiovascular patients, and 11% of Alzheimer's patients. Now, these statistics are specifically for these diseases that were mentioned. They have specific statistics, but this concept of depression and anxiety going hand in hand with disabilities spans over countless disabilities and illnesses. The fourth topic is isolation. This one hit me like a Mack truck. It can be incredibly hard to make and keep friendships when you are chronically ill and disabled, because at least for me, I have a feeling of being flaky or unreliable as a friend or a partner in a relationship, because I have days where I can barely get out of bed, or I can't at all. If I have plans with someone, I have to cancel. There's no way for me to just push through it or pull myself up by my bootstraps. Like, there's no getting around it. This leads to a huge sense of isolation in a lot of chronically ill and disabled people. It kind of links back to depression being linked with chronic illnesses. The fifth topic is brain fog. Like fatigue, brain fog can be misconstrued. It can be misconstrued as flightiness or forgetfulness, when it is a lot deeper than that. I find it really difficult to articulate what brain fog feels like. Sometimes it can be dissociation and you feel like you're not in the moment, you're not in this space here that you're in. And as a result, you can't think of what to say next, you can't process what people are saying. Sometimes it comes out as motor issues, tripping on yourself, clumsiness. This can be really hard to explain, so I like to use an analogy of folders in your brain. It's kind of like you're digging through this file folder, right? And as you're looking through, there's documents of information that have been Sharpied out. And then you flip a little further, and these documents that you used to be able to understand are in a different language now. And you know it's there, it's within reach, but you can't understand it, you can't access it. The sixth topic is good and bad days. If I have a good day, it can look like I'm not sick at all. I'm having a great day today. I was able to curl my hair, I was able to get ready for this video, and a lot of days I can't do that. A lot of days I look sick. I have braces on, I may have medicine in me that's making me really groggy, I might be sleeping all day, I may not want to communicate, I may have trouble communicating because of brain fog. There are good and bad days, and with most chronic illnesses, at least in the people that I've personally talked to, their good days and their bad days are wildly different. And it's really important to know, if you are friends or family of somebody with a chronic illness or disability, that what you see in an hour-long lunch or a 10-minute pass by in the grocery store or whatever it may be, might be 1% of this person's life. And that goes for anybody in general life. You see somebody on social media and you're seeing 1% of their life. This person's good day may be one day or less, a couple hours, out of the past 3 weeks that they've been able to leave the house. Kind of under the same umbrella is looking sick or not looking sick. I get that a lot, especially on my good days. I don't look sick. No one would know, which I understand. I would look at lots of people and be like, oh, you're fine. I wouldn't think twice about it. But if somebody doesn't look disabled and they need accommodations like the accessible stall in a bathroom, or the accessible parking spot, the handicap parking spots. If you see somebody who may look like me, who may not look disabled, meaning a wheelchair or a missing limb, something obvious, we tend to, as humans, assume that that person is faking or being dramatic, and most of the time that's not the case. Just a little tip, if you see somebody who doesn't look sick, or just somebody in general who is parking in a handicap spot and does not have a placard or a sticker or identification, you can always let them know, hey, you forgot to put your sticker or your placard up. That will tell you all you need to know. The seventh topic I want to talk about, and this one really got me because I have not personally experienced this, because since having my major health plummet, I have not been in a romantic relationship. But I got this comment on my TikTok when I was asking people for information, and it broke my heart. This woman said that she has been called an abusive or neglectful partner. And that absolutely breaks my heart, because to the outside world, not making dinner or doing laundry or contributing to the household makes you look neglectful and like you don't care about the other person. when really you are giving absolutely everything you have to give. And from the inside, your partner should, and most likely does, understand that, but from the outside perspective, you're not going to see that. Kind of under that umbrella as well is high functioning. Now, you hear this a lot with invisible disabilities, specifically neurodivergency, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder. If somebody is contributing to society in the way an able-bodied person would, they're high functioning. They're labeled as high functioning, almost like a linear scale of low functioning and high functioning, when that is just not a good way to explain it. It's not accurate to most people's experience. For me, kind of going back to the good and bad days, I may be high functioning on one day. Like today, I was able to kind of do my household chores, able to clean up, able to film this video, get myself dressed and ready, take a shower. Today, I might be labeled high functioning. Tomorrow, I may have a migraine and be in bed all day. I think a better way to explain it to somebody who wants to understand is support needs. Other than the label of high or low functioning, you may one day have higher support needs. I may need help doing my laundry. I may need help doing my dishes. I may need help making my bed. We have a variety of support needs rather than high or low functioning. I think this is topic 8 or 9. Two people with the same disability may present completely differently. My best friend and I both have connective tissue disorders, which is random in itself because we didn't know we had them when we met. Our bodies manifest that very differently. So for example, I have seizures and I have a lot of neurological issues. She gets a lot of bone fractures and breaks, and those things don't seem related, but the root cause is the same. She's at college right now, living near campus, and she's able to go in person, and I'm online. We have different support needs. Even though the core illness is the same, it manifests very differently, and it's important to know that, especially if you know multiple people with illnesses, or you're disabled or chronically ill yourself. If you hear that somebody else has higher support needs or lower support needs than you, realizing that they're a different person with different needs sounds simple and kind of like a no-brainer, but it's important to remind yourself and not hold yourself to a certain standard because, oh, this other person with EDS can do X, Y, Z and I can't. It just means that you're your own person and they're their own person and you have different experiences and needs, and that's okay. The last topic I want to bring up is specifically for able-bodied people who know and love a chronically ill or disabled person. There are some incredibly well-meaning people that want to help and just don't know how and go about it in a way that's not super helpful or burdensome to the person you're offering help to. So I have some recommendations. These are my personal recommendations. It might be different for different people, so keep that in mind. I feel like one kind of foolproof way is asking the person, how can I support you right now? Because people have different support needs. Like one person may be able to do their laundry fine, but cooking a meal is really hard for them. So if you ask, how can I support you? They can tell you exactly where they need the help. I'm here for you is a fantastic sentiment, and it always, in my experience, has come from a great place, but it can be overwhelming to the person that you are trying to comfort because it leaves it open-ended and the ball's in their court now. And so I'm left as a disabled person to contact you if I need help. And for me personally, that makes me feel like I'm being a burden, even though you're not a burden if you're chronically ill or disabled, but it does make you feel that way. An alternative to that would be to ask specific questions. Can I pick up groceries for you? Can I bring you a meal? Can I help you vacuum your carpets? You know, anything that you think may be helpful to that person, because then that initiating is off of the person who may need help. Another thing that I personally love is when people ask me about my experience genuinely and they want to know. This can really, really help know what questions to ask and know how to help the person. Getting to know their experience and their needs can make a world of difference. My parents do this with me. They are always able to help in the ways that I need it because they take the time and they ask me. So if the person in your life, your loved one, is comfortable sharing, ask them about their experience. Ask them what the hardest part of their day is. Ask them if you could have unlimited help in any area, what would it be? Questions like that to really get to know their internal experience. I want to thank everybody who contributed to all of these questions and answers. These are amazing, and thank you so much for helping me to get these out there. I want to start the conversation and I want to keep it going. So if you have any other topics you would like to bring up, please comment them. My TikTok's always open, my DMs are always open. All of my social medias are at the end of every video and in the descriptions below. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you just want to chat, always here. I also want to thank Liquid IV for this beautiful bottle and a stash of this brand new flavor, which, holy moly, is my favorite, I think. And it's like the best thing. It's pineapple-y and coconutty, which I am a big fan of. I also really like the green apple kombucha, just side note. But I'm out of it because it's so delicious and tasty that I was absolutely ravenous with it. Even have a code. When you use code Malia and Berg at checkout, you get a whole 20% off. That's right, 20% off. 20. Thank you to Liquid IV for partnering with me on this video. As always, you know your body best. You are not being dramatic, and your pain is very real. God bless. What was I gonna say? Sounds simple and kind of circles. I don't remember what I say at the end. Hang on. As always, I can't remember the ringing. I don't know.